Of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. This is host Linda Joy, and today we'll be talking about some things that we all yearn for: peace of mind, happiness, and of course, abundant living. Today's guest, Soul-Wise Living mentor Laura Clark, will be sharing how to maintain your inner peace and happiness by listening to and tapping into your inner energy. So Laura's passion is working with professional women who are ready to embrace their own inner wisdom to overcome the challenges of life. Known as the Soul-Wise Living mentor, Laura teaches a unique process of awakening and intuitive development tools that allow her clients to align the energies within and around them for spiritual empowerment. Laura is a co-author of the international bestsellers, Choosing Happiness and Cultivating Joy. Beyond supporting her clients fully and compassionately, Laura enjoys romping around the waterfront properties at large with her husband and her amazing 4 dogs. Welcome, Laura.
Oh, hi, Linda, and everybody who's on the call. I'm so excited to be here and share this piece of inner peace with people because it's so very important.
Well, as I shared at the beginning of the call, Laura, you and I have been playing, partnering, and you're one of the few women in my life that actually live just right over in the next state instead of across the country. So we have become dear friends. I love and have so much respect for the work that you do in the world because this is something many of us struggle with. It's how not to get caught up in the vortex of what's going on around us. And today we're going to be talking about not only how you guide clients and friends like me into doing so, but we're going to talk a little bit about the path that brought you to this work.
Sure.
So one of the things I really want to dive in, because you've worked with a lot of people who have struggled to connect and find happiness because they keep getting pulled by, life's curveballs. So what do you believe gets in the way of people's own peace of mind and happiness?
Well, it sounds so simple and cliche-y. It's their own mindset, their own emotional set, and stepping into the drama that is going on around them instead of being the sacred observer and watching it and finding the next best step. Because when we step back and look at life and situations objectively, which is the hardest thing to do in life, but once you get that and you can step back and say, well, wait a minute, this is just a moment in my life. This is just one moment of millions of seconds that I'm going to be living, and can I laugh at it? Can I move through it? And what's the next best step that allows me to see this with peace and with joy? It's stepping out of the drama instead of being drawn into it.
And I love the term you use, sacred observer. And when you said it, as you know from our relationship, I'm very visual. So the moment you said it, I saw almost like my soul above me looking down saying, okay, let's make a decision from this place instead of that whirlwind that's happening, around us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all are spiritual beings having a human experience, and drama is going to happen. People say, well, once you're happy and peaceful, you don't have this drama. Well, everybody who has not stepped into spiritual awakening creates drama in their life. When you've stepped into this space of awakening your inner wisdom, your soul, and aligning with spirit, you can say, that's your drama, it's not mine. how can I support you without being drawn into it? And when you do those things, that's where the inner peace comes.
Oh, I love that, because you can still love and honor someone and support them without giving away your power or your inner peace. So even though, because we all have family members or friends who are suffering or going through something, and this way, as a sacred observer, you're saying don't step into the drama vortex with them. You stay outside of it and offer love and support. I think by doing that, it must help them almost stop the vortex.
It is. It's like attracts like, and if you can magnetically and energetically stay away from their drama and create this inner peace within you and around you, you're sharing that with them. And when you become powerful in that, they cannot help but have more peace in their life.
And I love that. And, you and I have had situations in our life, even in our friends' lives in the last 6 months. And I've watched you put this into practice, where sometimes when someone we love is going through something, a lot of times, a lot of people will go into the fear-based worry of, oh, my God, I can't believe they're going through this, and bring that energy. And I watched you hold space for this mutual friend, and you would even make posts saying, listen, let's only send the family love and light. Do not hold vibrations of worry or concern. See this situation in the highest and best for everyone involved, and healing happening. And I thought that was beautiful, because a lot of us go, oh no, and we do go into that, not understanding that from a spiritual perspective, we're feeding the negative energy vortex, fear-based thinking that created the situation. But if we pull our energy from it, it may actually slow down that vortex of yucky energy.
Yeah, I've learned that over time again and time again and time again in my own life, and am gotten to the point where in my own life I'm the sacred observer, and I said, you know what, I'm not stepping into that. And because I've done that with excellence, and I'm not saying I'm not perfect, I am human, but I do it so well now that it just becomes me. And it's something that I teach my clients. It's something that I work with, energetically day in and day out. And it's that space of saying, you know what, I'm not going to feel sorry. And this may sound kind of callous, but I'm not going to feel sorry for them.
Exactly.
Because once you start feeling sorry for them, just think about it. I'm so sorry. What happens to if you're sitting in, this is a great exercise. If you're sitting in a chair right now and you say, oh, I'm so sorry, what happens to your posture? You automatically curl into almost it's an exaggerated expression, but you go into that fetal position of, oh, I'm so sorry. And all of a sudden you've lost your power. You've lost the ability to be there for them in a way that they need you. So I've gotten to the point where I don't say I'm sorry for your loss. Somebody's parent passes away or somebody has a health crisis. I don't say, oh, I'm so sorry. I say, boy, that's a really difficult situation to be in. How can I serve you?
Ooh, that's a big shift, because one is deflating, the other is empowering.
Absolutely.
And that's the energy that they're feeling.
Mm-hmm. So, they're feeling like they have no control, which we never do, really, truly. But they're feeling that, and they're feeling that I have no power, I can't do anything. But in every situation, in every moment in life, we can make a choice. And it's really a simple choice, Linda. It's that choice of love.
And I love that, because I've been on receiving sides of both, of the sympathy. And so as you were speaking, I was trying to remember, what did I feel like in those situations? And it's exactly that. I want the energy coming in towards me when I need it most, right? When we're hurting. I want it to be high vibration.
Yeah. You know, I mean, unless you want to continue living a drama-like life, and having people pity you and feeling sorry for you, fine, go ahead. That's your choice. But you're not going to get stronger. You're not going to feel empowered to have a bigger impact in the world. So it's a choice of, I don't want this drama. But we all need support, Linda. We all need support. We need divine support. We need universal energy support. We need support from our friends. And the people that I choose to have around me in my life are those that are going to hold me accountable to elevating my vibration. They're going to support that elevated vibration. They're not going to drag me down. And that's an important component to this whole thing is having the ability to access that support. And it's always there. You may not feel it from your family. You may not feel it from your friends. You may not feel it from your colleagues or coworkers, but it's always there when you step into divine energy.
And I want to talk more about this when we come back from our commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking all about inner energy and tips on how you can tap into this so that you can step out of the fear vortex, and so much more with my special guest, Laura Clark of SoulWiseLiving.com, when we come back from our commercial break.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
So hi, we're back with my special guest, Laura Clark of SoulWiseLiving.com. And right before the break, we were talking about how it's a choice of how we show up in our energy. And I want to dive in a little deeper into that, Laura, because sometimes I think that some people, depending on where they are on the path, don't know how to understand where they are in that energetic vibration. So I want to talk about, even briefly, how it feels in your body when you know you are in the fear vortex instead of what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think sometimes people need that, well, I don't really know how that relates to me and what I'm feeling. Are there some signs that you have shared with your clients so they can energetically say, oh, I'm in that place and don't want to be there?
Sure. I mean, everybody feels things differently because we are all unique individuals. But typically, to me, there are two kinds of fears. There's that fear of, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This is just wrong. Why me? All of that, those pain points. Why me? Who am I? Why is this happening to me? Why can't I catch a break? All of those questions that our mind starts playing games with, because you start asking your questions that are those that bring you down that rabbit hole and take you into a space of negative energy. And you can feel that. And before the break, we were talking about that fetal curling up energy. It's that closing off of yourself, of your spirit, where you just want to stop. You want to go into your bedroom and flip the blankets up over your head, kind of fear. There's that other fear, which I will be honest, I always get before I start speaking. You know, that it kind of gurgles up from my stomach up into my throat and into my mouth, and it's that fear of, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and you just step through it. That fear is really good fear. That fear is the fear of saying, I am strong, I am safe, I am supported, let's go. The other fear is that ego fear, that mindset and those emotions, the oh, woe is me, that takes your energy down and you don't feel in your body strong to step forward. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense because I feel, so when I know, I get it right in my solar plexus.
Right.
Yeah, and I go, oh, you're starting to get that little gurgly feeling. I love that word you described because that's kind of what it feels like. And it makes me pause and think of my thoughts, which, as you said earlier, comes down to mindset. It's like being aware of your thoughts and not letting them control you. And so it's like slowing down enough to listen and feel how you process. So I wanted to really bring that in because I want to talk about what inner energy is. And for those on the call and on listening to the show, what do you mean when you talk about inner energy? Is it intuition? Is it the inner wisdom?
Sure.
Yeah.
Our inner energy, when we are vibrating on a high level, is that connection to spirit, our inner intuition, our gut instincts. When we're not vibrating well, it's our ego. So our inner energy can be either. It's really important to create clarity within. And I use the 4-element theory to do that. 4-element theory aligns who we are as individuals with the elements of the universe. So very quickly, our mindset is associated with air. Our emotion set is associated with water. Our spirit set, that vibration, is associated with fire, and our physical strength, and I don't mean pumping iron, I just mean feeling really strong, is associated with earth. So having all of those things, our mindset, our emotion set, our physical set, and our spiritual set, all in alignment is when you feel like, oh, even though I'm feeling this in my solar plexus, I'm strong. I'm going to get through this. When one of those things is out of alignment, you're overthinking things or you're emotionally upset and you get that feeling, you start going down that rabbit hole. You haven't created that inner energy of empowerment to step you forward through a crisis or a challenge.
Oh, I love this idea of blending all the elements of nature because we are so divinely connected to nature and the source, whatever we name our source. And I've never heard it explained that way, that each one corresponds to an element.
Well, when you think about it, we are human beings, and we're connected to the universe. And what did the universe create? It created this beautiful, earthly, rich environment that we live in. And why not connect to those elements in order to step forward, in order to be the best that you can be? And my dogs, if you can hear them in the background, agree with that. Animals love being out in nature because they are so connected, intuitively. They don't have these brains that we have getting in the way,
And I can hear them, and you know how much I love your animals. So I'm laughing because they came into the conversation right when we're talking about nature and how we can connect to it to feel our best. And like you said, pets do that.
Yeah, they have a way of doing that. And even as much as I put them away when I'm doing interviews, you're divinely, you have these signs, they're a sign of, connect to nature. Go out. If, when you're in a meeting and somebody says, okay, we just need to, let's all go get some air and come back. It's because things have gotten confusing and you're thinking, no, I can't do that, or why is that person saying this? And I really want to do it this way, but that person, we're getting into that mind that mini mind of confusion. So let's all get some air and come back with clarity.
And that's funny. That saying, I got to get some air. It probably came, it sounds like it came up when someone was feeling overwhelmed. So their internal guidance system, the one connected with source and nature, automatically knows what we need. And like you said, it's get outside. Absolutely.
And your friends, we have such a tough time being objective for ourselves. But when you have a friend and you're in a crisis or a challenge and you're emotionally distraught, and you've been crying, that good cry, and they'll say, here, take a sip of water, go wash your face and come right back.
Oh, again, I never paid attention to that water element.
Right. Your friends know intuitively that you need to calm your emotions, and to do that, you use water.
And you know what's funny, as you're saying this, they may not consciously know why they're even saying that. I think it's a sacred agreement at birth, and we all came with this information of how to exist in the world, and we lose it. It becomes buried. And so they're speaking the words intuitively from a deep place of knowledge.
Absolutely. We're connecting with the universe all the time, and we don't even know it.
Doesn't it kind of give you soul giggles to know that?
It does. Absolutely. I love when you say soul giggles. That's a great expression.
Oh, that's how it feels inside. I know so many people comment because I always use hashtag soul giggles.
Yep.
But it's just a way of describing what I feel like inside when I get that. I call it a thread when you feel like something's pulling you, a thread from the top of your head into the spirit world, the divine source, whatever your particular word is. And when it happens, I feel like an alignment all the way through my body, like, yes, I'm in my truth right now. I want to stay there. And as you discussed earlier, life still happens. Sometimes we get thrown off course.
Yep.
And all we do is take the corrective measures to come back to truth.
Yeah. And I'm looking out my beautiful window into the woods right now, and it's surrounded by pine trees. And you talk about that thread of coming into your body and connecting with the universe, making you feel stronger, that your physical presence. And that's connecting with the earth element. Trees are all about earth and raising your vibration up. And so oftentimes if I'm having a tough day, I take a break and I go out, and you'll find me with my back to a tree, pulling its strength into me so that I can step forward in my better, best self.
And I got to tell you something, and I'm sure you hear this from a lot of people. I love following you on Facebook because you are a beautiful example of a woman who, that's what a lot of your posts are about. It's showing you taking your walks, taking the dogs out, really, truly feeling nature. And you're always talking about, I got to go connect with myself. I got to go connect with nature. So I just love it because you walk, you talk. And just by posting your truth, right, you remind a lot of us in the middle of our day. So when your posts pop up, you remind a lot of us in our day, when's the last time I did that?
Right.
When's the last time I stepped away from my computer? To, even if it's a 5-minute walk. And I know a lot of pet owners, they have that. You got those little eyes, in your case, many eyes, looking at you like, Mama, take me out for a walk. That is your sacred reminder to go out to nature.
Sure.
But for those of us right now, as you know, my pets have passed. But I don't have that right now. So when I see your Facebook post, it's a sacred reminder. Linda, when's the last time you went outside and took a walk?
Sure.
So I love that you inspire us and remind us to use nature as a tool that was given to us for.
Sure. And a lot of people will say, well, that's all well and good, Laura. You've created this lifestyle where you work out of your house and you are blessed, and I am, to be able to do that. How do I do that in my cubicle? How do I do that as a nurse working at a nurse's station? I just came back from taking some sacred self-care time. I created my own retreat, and I found this beautiful piece of bark on the shoreline, and it's probably 3 inches long. It is about 3 inches long and maybe an inch wide, But it spoke to me when I was walking the beach, and I picked it up, and I asked if it was okay if it could come home with me, and the universe said yes. And so that, when I'm sitting here at my desk, is right here. Looking out the window, I see it, but it's also right here where I can touch it. If I don't have that time element, but I really feel like I need that grounding. So people can put something like that they connect with nature to in their pocket or on their desktop, so that it's there, so you can just touch it and stay focused and say, just, okay, yep, I am a sacred being. I am not my emotions. I am not my mindset. I am a sacred being, and I'm grounding with that strength, and let's go. It's about the simple spirituality. It's oftentimes people say, oh, well, I don't have an hour to meditate every day. I don't have 90 minutes to go to a vinyasa yoga class. And that's true. But that doesn't mean you can disconnect. There are simple ways to do this to elevate who you are as a spiritual being.
I love the word you just, or the phrase you just used. You said simple spirituality.
Mm.
And, you know my schedule. You know how busy I am. And if I didn't make time for what you call simple spirituality, throughout my day, I wouldn't be able to live or serve the people that I serve, including my family, friends, my tribe, my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that term because that is really what I do. Yeah. I just take moments throughout the day, and like you said, it's just stopping, pausing. Sometimes I will listen to one of those, like a 10-minute guided meditation just to bring me back in my body and out of my head.
Yeah.
And those are all, and then it's funny because you said put things from nature on your desk. And I'm looking at, I have a beautiful Himalayan salt candle holder and amethyst and rose quartz, and I'm like, hey, I did that. I have it on my desk.
Yeah.
And so it is so important, if you want to thrive in any area of your life and feel balanced and energetically, physically, and spiritually good, is to give yourself the gift of, like you said, simple spiritual practices that you can squeeze in wherever you are. You can do it in a parking lot.
Oh, absolutely. You can do it in the middle of a heated conversation, Linda. And that's the whole thing. We started off the conversation this morning, or when the show is going on, is about we're talking about, stepping into drama and stepping into that negative energy is what draws us down. And we forget that spirituality is simple. People make life harder than it has to be. But spirit is simple. Spirit is simply love and light. And however you can reconnect with that quickly and easily will bring you back and allow you to step forward in your better, best self. Yeah, I was helping my dad do some financial stuff. He's 86 and he's a loving man, but he and I often play a dart game together where, we're shooting darts at each other. And I put down on a piece of paper right before we sat down in front of the finances just a red circle. And every time my energy started getting wonky or he got elevated, because we were talking about money, and money often has an emotional vibration to it, I would put my finger on that red button. And you know what I call it?
What?
My love button.
Aww.
And all it was to remind me that I love this man, that he has been, he is an exceptional being, that he is love, that he is my dad, and that is what's the most important thing in this particular second, in this particular moment. And it just takes all of that yucky, wonky energy away and brings me back into the higher vibration with him.
Oh, my God, that's beautiful because, again, I'm visual. So for me, doing something like that, I could really connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kept bringing you back, keeping you in your truth and not letting yourself get pulled into old stories, a way of connecting. Like you said, that's not a fun topic for a lot of people when you have to sit down and figure out someone's finances for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a love button. Oh, I like that.
A love button, yeah.
Well, we're going to come back and we're going to be talking even more on this topic about energy, how to really ground yourself when everything it may be going on around you that could be negative. You know how it is, the news, the naysayers, and how to stay centered with this. We'll be talking about this and a lot more with my dear friend and special guest, Laura Clark of SoulWiseLiving.com.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Isn't it time for you to listen to your own internal compass, your intuition, rather than listening to all those around you? When you learn how to navigate using your intuition, you'll discover how to hear your soul's whispers so you live a life of purpose, joy, and abundance. Soul-Wise Living mentor Laura Clark provides women with the empowering tools and support to help them tame their inner critic, calm their emotions, and ground themselves so they can hear, trust, and act upon their inner guidance. If you're ready to awaken your intuition, visit SoulWiseLiving.com to schedule a complimentary Sacred Soul chat, read Laura's inspiring blog posts, and discover an array of free supportive resources.
The leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
So, Laura, we ended off talking about your Love Reset button, which I thought was just a beautiful way and a beautiful tool for us to stay grounded in our truth. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we are inundated. And this is why I am doing this show and bringing on visionary women like you is we are spiritual beings, as you said at the beginning, in this human experience, and the world is happening all around us. Mm-hmm. We are constantly being bombarded with negativity. And what I want my listeners to come away with from women like you is exactly what we're talking about today. How do you exist in the world but still maintain everything that we're talking about today? Our mm-hmm. positivity, our mindset, our way of intentional living. So let's talk about that. How do you stay centered with this?
Yeah, well, we were talking about our inner energy earlier and connecting with the four elements to maintain that vibration that is supportive of us, that allows us to be connected to spirit. And inner energy is really important, but there's also outer energy that can affect us, especially those people who really are intuitive by nature. We can be so affected by the energy that's around us. So creating ways to have the energy within, using the four elements, elevate us, and the energy around us to support us is critical to maintaining that balance in life that allows you to go forward as your better, best self and make a higher impact in the world. And energy around us comes in so many different flavors, whether it's the space that you live in and whether it's clutter-filled. You know, it's always important to keep clarity around you. So living in an environment that is clear and not clutter-free, and then setting it up where the energy can flow to you, that abundant, joyful, universal energy can flow sacredly around your space. So, the principles of Feng Shui, the wind and water, where the energy flows to you, is really vital. A lot of people will use aromatherapy to diffuse into a space to keep that energy vibrant and high. So the space is so important for you. That's one way energy around you is important. And then there's the human energy that is always around us, which oftentimes takes us down. And we opened the show talking about a mutual friend who was having such a difficult time this year, going through a real crisis in her family. And, you know, people kept bringing that vibration down. They were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this." And we talked about supporting that. In my chapter in the bestseller, Cultivating Joy, I speak of a very, very, probably the biggest personal experience that I went through that had a profound impact on my life. And creating that energy around me was critical to getting through it.
And I witnessed it because I'm a friend and, you know, we're in a sacred circle. I witnessed in your dark times that you wrote about, as you said, in Cultivating Joy, I witnessed you hold space for everyone else and really not demand, but hold your strength and say, please do not send worry my way. Mm-hmm. Do not send fear my way. I am holding space to see that this unfolds in the highest and best for all involved, even knowing that it might not be the result your human mind wants, but you will allow your spiritual side to say, let me hold this container. Do not send that energy to me of worry while you were going through this. Right. I thought it was so beautiful and so empowering, not just for yourself, but that whole tribe of people that came forward, especially on Facebook when the situation unfolded. Right. And that lesson has created ripples. Look at your story is touching thousands of women, but now that knowledge that you had, you share with others of how to do it.
Yeah, it you know, and I actually have to correct you a little, Linda. I did demand it. Because I did.
I was being loving and gentle.
I know you were, but I demanded. I was just like, I am not going through this crisis without having everybody's support, and if you can't do that, then please go away.
Yes, if you can't do it from the highest vibration of love and surrounding you and the story that we're talking about, why don't you just give a quick overview so we don't, but I think this way they have some context about the situation.
The quick overview is my man friend of life, my partner in crime, rolled his car on the highway, and our 3 dogs were in it, and 2 of them were safe, but 1 ran away from the scene, and we were in search for her. And during that it was 8 days of searching for her, and during that whole time, I was holding my energetic space as best as possible. I took out every spiritual tool that I have in my arsenal to allow the highest good to come forward for everybody. And in that, it created the space, that outer energy of, I used an altar for her healing. I used an altar for the family. I used my own personal mantra of, I am safe, I am supported, I am strong, I am spirit. And then I would take that and feel really good, and then I would send that mantra out to the people around me, and then send it out to Tarsi, my dog, and I would send it out to the world because I was not going to allow any negative vibration to hit this space. So that outer energy, I don't know if I've even shared this with you, but one of those evenings, after it had gotten dark and our search had ended for her, I went and I was watching my niece play field hockey, and I was surrounded by some family and a couple of her friends, and everybody kept saying, it was later in the fall here in New England, and everybody kept saying, oh, it's so cold, it's so cold, it's so cold. And I finally looked at them all and I went, it is not cold. My baby is out there, and she has found a safe place to curl up and stay warm, just like we are here in this vibrant state of being warm together. It is nothing but warm out there. Do you all understand?
Oh, I love that, because you were surrounding Tarsi with this love, with this healing energy, with this positivity, knowing that how it was going to turn out was out of your hands, but you wanted her and yourself surrounded by this high vibration.
Absolutely. And that piece has allowed me to, we all have situations and challenges in our life that we don't know until, hindsight becomes 20/20 about how it's going to support you and bring that love forward into your life. And it allows me to hold that compassionate, supportive space for my clients, for my friends, no matter what is going on around us. We can always find the joy. I was finding joy that evening watching my niece play field hockey, even though this whole unfathomable challenge for me, as I don't have children, I have fur dogs. One of them was lost. Yeah. So I still found joy in that moment. And others were they were standing there shivering and saying they were cold. They couldn't find the joy in the moment. And you can, no matter what is going on around you, there is always joy.
And that's a powerful part of your message and your work in clients, is because so many of us become disconnected from our joy that we forget how to tap back into it. And all of your work really is based on, let's get you back in there. Let's bring you back to your truth, because you never lost joy. You can't, because it's a part of who you are and your connection to Source.
Right.
All you do is bring them back into themselves using all your spiritual tools and sacred wisdom, because I've seen you in action and I know. And I want to tie up the story because I feel like we left what do you call that? Like a season ender, at the end of a...
Yeah.
So I'll let you share, because it's something you just said about that moment that you said, no, she's curled up under the bough of a tree and found a warm spot. Little did you know that those words.
Yeah, it gives you chills, because I said that evening, and indeed that's where we found her. She had transitioned forward sometime during those 8 days, and we found her by the grace of God and an amazing, amazing volunteer, someone who I did not know, who came out of the woodwork to help and support me. She found her under the boughs, curled up next to a log into the leaves, keeping herself warm, because she intuitively, dogs do that, they intuitively go back into, how do I survive? And she went there, and that's where she found her peace and her rest. And I found her, and it was amazing, because this volunteer who Dream, I mean, she's my baby savior. She just lost it. She cried, and she, deep emotional outbursts. And I was with my man friend, and he had an emotional outburst. And I just sat there, and part of it was shock, I'm sure. But I sat there, and I go, she's safe. She's safe.
Yeah. Yes.
And it was this deep sense of love, knowing that she was safe, and knowing that she had served her purpose. And that's a whole nother conversation about how she served me. But she had served her purpose, and the highest good was for her to leave. And I knew that with every fiber of my being. And that brought me joy. As difficult as it was to let her go, to see her transition forward, it still brought me joy in that moment. And that's what it is to be spiritually awakening and enlightened. It's that being able to stand there and realize I'm having an emotion. It is not who I am. I'm having thoughts. They are not who I am. I am a spiritual being in this moment, and I'm going to bring my love and my light to it.
I love that, and I want to talk about that when we come back from commercial break. I want to dive more into that. Our emotions are not who we are, because I think that's something, and I'll speak for myself, that I struggle with, especially in my younger years, and anyone that has struggled with depression or anything like that. we believe that our emotions are our truth. So we'll be back in a moment to continue our inspiring conversation with Laura Clark of SoulWiseLiving.com.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Are you being called to live a bigger life? A life that fills you with passion and purpose? Are you constantly telling yourself that the life you have now should be good enough? Dream Life designer and life coach Karen Spacies is passionate about empowering women to rediscover, reawaken, and realize their life's desires. Karen knows firsthand the blocks and limiting beliefs that may come up when you follow your heart. She went through them herself when she walked away from a 24-year leadership role to follow her passion, live authentically, and create her dream life and business. Today, Karen successfully guides and supports her clients in designing and creating the life they envision. Stop by KarenSpacies.com to schedule a complimentary discovery session and learn how Karen can support you in creating your dream life. KarenSpacies.com.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back to Inspired Conversations. This is Linda Joy, and joining me today is Laura Clark of SoulWiseLiving.com. And we were just talking about our emotions. And I think a lot of us, and I was speaking from my own experience, a lot of us believe that what we're feeling is the truth of who we are or the truth of a situation. So let's talk about that, Laura, because as you and I know, that's not the truth.
Oh, it's the furthest thing from the truth, and you hinted into depression, and depression really is that deflated state of being, of not seeing hope, of not seeing joy. And oftentimes when you're going into a depression or you're feeling like there is no hope, we have these emotions that are all gunking up our situation. Helplessness, fear, anger, just bubbling up inside of us. And that certainly doesn't serve our highest good. But they are our emotions, and we have to acknowledge that. We have to say, those are my emotions. In that acknowledgement comes clarity. It's like, oh, those are emotions. Oh, they're emotions. That's not who I am. What's my best step forward to, no, can I shift them? Yeah, I think I can. And it's about looking, as we spoke earlier, being that sacred observer of who we are and saying, those are our emotions. I acknowledge them. I am choosing to make a transition into something else from that.
And I love that. It's a transition. It isn't like we can press a button and stop feeling, and that's not what we're saying to do.
No.
It's choosing something different from the lower vibration energy that you may find yourself in. And you and I both, and that's, I think, a topic for another day, but at some point in our lives, you and I both struggled with depression. Mm-hmm. So we understand this on an intimate level. And we've also discovered tools and spiritual resources and a community that empowered us to be able to transition out of that energy, out of those emotions. Because as you know, Laura, when we're in that energy, sometimes it's hard to envision, how do I get to joy when I'm here?
Oh.
But you know that it's baby steps.
Yeah, and some people will say, well, oh, Laura, well, it's so easy to go from joy to, from depression to joy. You seem to do it in the leaps and bounds. And there's truth in that now, but I've been doing this for 25 years.
Same here.
I've started this practice of spiritual awakening 25 years ago. And I simply started it with taking a deep breath. In that space of that deep breath, you can go from hopelessness to just feeling blank, which is, feeling blank is oftentimes better than feeling hopeless, and coming up that emotional chart, Abraham talks about 22 emotions, and just going, what's the next emotion up the chart that will allow me to then take the next step? And it's a staircase. It's taking those steps up. And we talked about the 4 elements, and emotion is connected with water. Go get a sip of water so that emotion can then be discharged, and energetically you can raise yourself up. Because it is a practice. And I sit here looking back at the last 2 decades going, holy mackerel, I never, ever envisioned I'd be sitting in this seat right now 2 decades ago. Wow. Because it is growth, right? We're always growing.
And it's like you, when I was sitting in my car on the side of a road back in 1992 deciding whether to continue living or not, could I have ever imagined, and that's the day I took the first step on this path. Mm-hmm. Like you, I could never have imagined that I would be with an amazing visionary woman like you having this sacred conversation when there was a time in my life that there was so much pain. Anyone that is listening to the show today, I hope that serves as a sign that there's something on the other side of your pain. And as we're coming to the final minutes and 10 minutes or so of our show, what is, because I love that I've always known you as a soul-wise living mentor. Mm-hmm. But for those who are new to all this terminology, why don't we talk about what is a soul coach? How do you help support your clients in doing everything that we've been talking about today?
Yeah, and people, I get that question so often because they're, well, that's a life coach, right? Or, well, you're kind of doing psychotherapy, and there may be some mixes and little pieces of both of those to the work that I do, but truly it is its own genre of coaching in and of itself. So a psychotherapist will go back to past challenges in your life and try to unravel them and bring healing so that you can move forward. A life coach will take what your goal is and break it down into steps and have you accountable to that so that you're getting there. And both of those, and I've worked with both of those personally and professionally as colleagues, and they have their spaces in evolution of growth and development. But what a soul coach does is it really allows you to connect to your inner wisdom. Because what I understand as truth is that your soul knows the truth. It is what is directly connected to divine and universal wisdom. And when you can access your own soul's truth and understand it more clearly and connect with it more consistently, then you find the courage to act upon it. And when you act upon your own truth, you start stepping into all of the possibility of you, of being the better, best individual that you can be, of making the bigger impact on your family, your community, your colleagues, your business, the kind of impact that all women crave for. And some really cool guys, too.
I love that description. Aligning all of the energies, inner and outer. We are constantly disconnected from that and allow the outside energies to control or lead our lives. And what you do is bring them back, so it's the inner energies that you lead, create, serve, and love from. Are there practices that you can share with our listeners that it's something that they could implement at any time?
The most critical piece in this whole conversation we're having is being that sacred observer and being able to catch yourself being drawn into the drama and saying no. And to do that, it is a practice of moment by moment stopping, while you're driving the car and saying, what am I thinking? Practice them when you're grocery shopping. What are the exact words? I reached for the granola and I said, I can't buy that because it's too expensive, or I don't want that because I don't like the colors of the packaging. What is actually going through your mind? And becoming very mindful is the first step in being able to stop the drama in your life. Because we're with ourselves 24/7, and we better be our best friends.
Well, that's a perfect example of something that we can do easily. So, Laura, I want to thank you for being here and showing up with such authenticity and vulnerability and just sharing who you are and your sacred wisdom with my audience. And I want to leave everyone with a quote, and it says, "The soul whispers to you and beckons you to open up to all the possibilities before you." And Laura, I want to thank you again, and I also want to invite everyone, stop by Laura's site at soulwiseliving.com. Dive in deeper into all the beautiful content, programs, and services that she offers. So thank you for being here and joining me for Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy. Choose love, choose joy, and choose happiness.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.